Namaskar. This evening, Wednesday evening, we'll be discussing about the Gospel of Sirama Krishna. I fondly named it as Panchama Veda. So we were reading from the page number 687, where Bhagavan Sirama Krishna was listening, and Sri Ma, the Master Maharshai, his disciple, he was reading from a book as written by the Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. It is a famous book. For the last 2 days we were reading. Here almost a completing Master Maharshai reading. The author says, a little later, God cannot easily be perceived by the mind. He says that one needs a telescope to have the direct vision, that is the yoga. That is very good. Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is commenting. We discussed this in the last time. At last the Devi Chaudhurani met her husband. She showed him great devotion and said to him, "You are my God. I wanted to learn the worship of another God, but I did not succeed. You have taken the place of all gods." Master smiling, this is the dharma of a woman totally devoted to her husband. This is also a path. The reading was over. The master was smiling. The devotees looked at him, eagerly waiting to hear what he said. Master Sirama Krishna, to the devotee, smiling, this is not so bad. It is called the dharma of chastity, the single-minded devotion of a wife to her husband. If God can be worshipped through an image, why shouldn't it be possible to worship Him through a living person? It is God Himself who sports in the world as men. Oh, what a great stage I passed. The Sirama Krishna is now mentioning about his condition. There's a new conception is coming. What is that? A lady dedicated to her husband. You know that in the time of the Vedic period, there was a conception for the women also. Research was necessary to find out what is the truth. So Brahmavadini dharma for the women, that was given. The Brahmavadini dharma. So we got many great scholars and also the lady sages. We know many of them. That is, we always, the Indian history, they are proud of them. Then a time came, I think the population increased, society became bigger, and it was necessary to develop the families. Because the families are a unit of the society. Every family is a unit of a society. If the families are not properly developed, then the human society also cannot properly do anything. So that is the reason the Samajpatis, the teachers of the society, they then asked the women to take that responsibility. And their dharma, their responsibility was fixed as Pratibrata dharma. In the beginning it was Brahmavadini dharma. Brahmavadini means the knower of Brahman, and that was a completely different research, researching the self and finding out the self and recording all those things. That was a completely different. Then came a time when these, our mothers, these ladies again, now they are taking the responsibility of the society, and a pativrata dharma. And here dedicated to the husband, and they were developing their families, as they call nowadays the homemakers. Now you have to look after the children, you have to take their education, and also about the economy, everything they used to look after. This pativrata dharma, it continued. The Sita and all that, it came. In the modern times, it became once again responsible. The women, they have done a lot for their families. Now again we find in the life of Ma Sharadamani Devi the combination of these two ideologies. One is Brahmavadini ideology, at the same Pativrata Dharma. The dedication to the husband means the family. The both are present in the life of Ma Sharadamani Devi. She was completely dedicated to her husband, helping him to develop the spiritual life. At the same time, she herself was completely absorbed in the spiritual practice. That is also possible. Some may ask, she was not having any issues there. She was not the mother of any children. Who said? She didn't give the birth, but at the same time she was taking care of the big family of Bhagavan Sirama Krishna. Family mean his disciples. Varieties of people, different type of people. The boys, the elderly people, the ladies, and rich, poor, educated, uneducated. Can you imagine the samsara, the family of Sirama Krishna Ma Sharada? But at the same time, she was taking care of the spiritual life also. So this Brahmavadini Dharma and Pativrata Dharma mingled in Ma Sharadamani Devi, which is the ideal of the present day women. So after this, let us go how Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is explaining and narrating his own experience. He is telling, "Oh, what a stage I passed through. I passed some day absorbed in Shiva and Durga, some days absorbed in Radha and Krishna, and some days absorbed in Sita and Rama." Friends, this is Bhagavan Sri Rama Krishna. It is unique. When the other sadhakas we find, they are great, but only dedicated to Rama and Sita. Whole life, and they never could think of anything else. Their whole life was the prayer and the meditation and everything they have done, only focused only this, Sita and Rama, or the Shiva and Durga. But look at Bhagavan Sri Rama Krishna. Casually he is mentioning, but his mind was so strong and one-pointed that whatever that he thought, immediately the teaching of that revealed to him. So he is mentioning like this, that way, Shiva and Durga, some days absorbed in Radha and Krishna, and some days absorbed in Sita and Rama. The Rama and his Shakti, Krishna and his Shakti, Shiva and his Shakti. This is what is the Shiva, the knowledge, the auspicious. But at the same time, when Shiva is active, he is creating, he is destroying that power, that knowledge, which is known as Brahman, when performing, and that is called the Durga. The Shiva Shakti, that is Durga. Same way, Rama Shakti is the Sita. Krishna Shakti is the Radha. So this Shakti means that power that the God is exerting to do his divine play, to perform his divine play. This is the Shakti conception, the power of God. Shakti means power. The power of God manifesting. Why then in the form of the ladies, in the form of the mother, because they are creating, they are sustaining, and also the same Shakti is taking it back within itself, all the creation. So that is the reason. But Leela is by no means the last word. This is Sirama Krishna. When someone went to Mayavati, is a place that Swami Vivekananda, he liked that on the Himalaya there should be an ashrama where people who do not believe in the God in form can go and stay. In Hinduism, God with form and God without form, both. That is, Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is saying that both is possible. Though there was a great difference, but Sirama Krishna brought it together. And he said, suppose there is a devotee. So devotee wants the God to take a form because he wants to love, she wants to love. So that is, the God is taking form because of the devotee's love. Then another person, because of his knowledge, thinking that no, there should not be any form, the God is all pervading consciousness. It is also all right. So Swami Vivekananda, with the help of his two British devotees, the captain and Mrs. Xavier, he developed that ashrama. And in that ashrama, Ramakrishna Mission's ashrama, name is Advaita Ashram, that there is no shrine, no temple, no puja, only you have to think about the Brahman. So this was there. Then in Brahmachari, he was there, and you know that Belur Math is our headquarters. They send the monastic members to different centers to man those places. This Brahmachari was a devotee type, and he was thinking, I will keep my Sirama Krishna's photo, who is the guru of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda owned mine. But Swamiji went and saw that he is personally doing puja inside the room and has made a small shrine in his bedroom. Then he scolded the in charge. Why you have not seen? Why you are not giving the training? This is a place for the Advaita. The people should be thinking in a different way. So that was mainly all people they were thinking. So that Swami Vivekananda became very angry and he scolded. So they were asked, no, you please remove. Then this Brahmachari wrote to Mother. Now Swami Vivekananda, it seems after visiting the Europe, has lost faith in Swami Sirama Krishna. He is not even allowing the Sirama Krishna, we cannot worship even Sirama Krishna. And when that later went there with a question, that what should we do, Ma Sharadamani Devi, very interesting reply she gave. The Sirama Krishna is an Advaita and you are all Advaitin. The Advaita, no two. So obviously, when we are thinking in this way, Bhagavan Sirama Krishna himself, mentioning over here in this Gospel of Sirama Krishna, he said, Leela is by no means the last word. Passing through all these states, I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, in these states there is separation. Look at it. In these states there is separation. Give me a state where there is no separation. In the stage of Doita, Doita means God is different, I am different. Obviously, it is a separation will be there. Suppose God is a little angry with me, he will ask me, go away, or he will turn his face, as it goes always. I love and I have all respect and their close relationship, but at the same time there will be some separations also that you always find. So this is called the separation. Sirama Krishna is telling, no, I don't want this separation even. So he is telling, then I remain for some time absorbed in the indivisible Satchidananda. The Sirama Krishna is telling that I was observed in the Sita and Rama, Shiva and Durga, these 12 forms, and at the same time the Ramite Sampradaya, then Saivite Sampradaya, then Vaishnavite Sampradaya. In the Hinduism, the different schools, you can say, they are there. Sri Ramakrishna followed those paths. Then he himself is telling, and that is the ultimate. Leela cannot be the ultimate. The play of God cannot be the ultimate. There should be the one. The moment the conception of two are there, there will be the separation. There will be again the misery. Even though I go to the heaven and I cannot see God over there for whatever may be the reason, I am in misery. So in the Dvaitism, there is always the separation, and Sri Ramakrishna is taking us crossing that duality. We go and merge in Sat Chit Ananda. So that is Sri Ramakrishna's Advaitin. The Advaitin, the Vedantin, not Advaitin. There is no duality, no second conception. There is only one. The Sri Ramakrishna is mentioned. That's why. But for him it was so easy. That we wonder. Many of the people, they think that it is all easy. Just I am thinking, oh, I am that, I am that. It is not that easy. Because that will be reflected in your life. And your thoughts will be very clear. And when I feel that God is present within me, I can see God everywhere. And then at the same time, I am that. Your behavior will change. That is why the Bhagavan Sri Krishna giving the answer to Arjuna's question, how we will know that one person has realized God, and he is going on giving all that reply. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is a very important way he is telling. We can always feel that we have realized God. We can always feel that we have realized the Brahman. We all can feel that, oh, I have seen that now it is over. Nothing is necessary for me. But what about your daily life? That never shows that. So you have to be careful. Sri Ramakrishna. So that's why this book, I say, Panchama Veda, why? This is the book of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And we get everything so clearly. So when he is mentioning about the duality, at the same time he is mentioning about the non-duality, that is the indivisible Satchidananda. I removed the pictures of the gods and goddesses from my room. I began to practice God in all beings. Formal worship dropped away. You see that bale tree? I used to go there to pluck its leaves. One day, as I plucked a leaf, a bit of bark came off. I found the tree full of consciousness. This is called the realization, no imagination. And because of the real realization, feeling the consciousness in everything, and we are mostly emotional. Oh, no, we should not do this, we should not do that. That is all emotional. The realization is completely different. And in that realization, the Sri Ramakrishna is describing this. I felt grieved because I had hurt the tree. One day I tried to pluck some durba grass. It's kind of, is considered as a holy, the grasses that is usually used for our puja. But I found I couldn't do it very well. Then I forced myself to pluck it. The Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. And after that he is mentioning, at once I had a vision of Virata. He went to pluck the flowers, and then he saw that I am plucking the flowers to worship, but the already is that everything is being worshipped, and that the Virata means the huge. The literal meaning of the Virata is huge. At once I had a vision of Virata. It appeared that his worship was just over. the huge, someone has already done the worship. Everywhere it is done. So this is how Sirama Krishna felt. The flowers looked like the bouquet and placed on the head of the deity. I could not pluck them. This is the feeling of the oneness, the realization of the oneness. When Sirama Krishna, from his own experience explaining this, it becomes easy for us to understand the scripture. When you are reading the scripture, the devotional scripture, and following the path of the duality, and we are feeling, well, so this is how things goes, and I am feeling that God is just before me, He is all around me, and so that feeling is so enjoyable. You don't like to forget that God is always with me, is all around me. I can see God as if He is blinking. I can talk to Him as if He is listening. I can feed Him as if He is eating. All those feelings are really, really good. It gives a great joy. But at the same time, because the duality, ultimately it will bring some separation. And it is unbearable separation. Naturally, the love is so intense. Now, as Sirama Krishna is mentioning, God sports through man as well. I see man as the embodiment of Narayana, is a great statement. When some people they say the man are the sinners, here Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is mentioning, and that is the viewpoint of the Vedanta and the Hindus, we can say, that the embodiment of Narayana, Amritasya Putraha, in the Veda they are addressing the human being as the children of immortal bliss. The children of immortal bliss, the bliss means the ananda, the joy, the happiness by which we feel when after the realizations, the great rishis, when they could clean their mind completely free from the attachment of these worldly things, in that clear mind, the reflection of that consciousness, the Brahman, came, and then they felt that it is there. Asti, it is there, existence. And full of knowledge. There is no ignorance. There is no doubt that the world that we see is completely temporary. It is not there. We are just imagining it. And third, your heart is full with joy, the bliss, and you don't have any desire. So when we suffer, because we have the desire, different type of desires, some are gross desires, some are very subtle desires, but the desires are there in hundreds, in thousands. And when that not a single desire is present in the mind, just imagine, right this moment it is not possible for ordinary people like us to think about it. Just try to imagine when there is no desire, then what will be there? Only joy, the happiness, because that is existing. And that they said, to explain that Brahman, you cannot give any explanation or the definition of the Brahman, because it is the subject, it is subjective, it is you. It is not a Vishaya, it is not an object. So that is the reason Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is telling, ultimately I pray to the Divine Mother that give me a state where there is no separation. So he experienced that Sat Chit Ananda. That is the ultimate way to explain. And it is all the direct experience. No one can give you that experience. So Sirama Krishna is mentioning about that. And then you can find, when your mind comes down and when you feel that the world is there and you don't see this world as the world that ordinary people they consider, it is nothing but the same God. And what you see, the human being, nothing but the divine. So this divinity, that's why Swami Vivekananda afterwards, for us, he said, each soul is potentially divine. What is the speciality of the Hinduism? This realization. When there are different type of gods and the votaries or worshippers are there, and there are a lot of the rituals are there, it is present in every religion. What is the speciality of the Hindus? Advaita Vedanta. When you say the Vedanta, and the Vedanta can be of the three different types, the duality and qualified monism and pure monism. And this monism, non-duality, that is the speciality of the Hinduism. The Hindu should try to understand this, though it is really difficult. The Sirama Krishna is now giving that idea that I see man as the embodiment of Narayana. Narayana is the God, the supreme God, all-pervading God. As fire is kindled when you rub two pieces of wood through, so God can be seen in man if you have intense devotion. We are not seeing that God in that the human being in that human being form. It is just God. The God is doing everything. So this is the way, if we can understand, and that is called Vedanta. If there is suitable bait, big fish like the carp gulp it down at once. When one is intoxicated with the prema, one sees God in all beings. Now he was talking about the pure monastic, the non-dualistic way. Then suddenly he understood that it will be difficult for the ordinary people like us to understand. Now he is bringing it down to our level to some extent, and he said, if you develop prema, when we are practicing duality, the last condition is the prema. Before we have discussed it. Maybe once again the topic will come, we will discuss. Then when we are slowly developing the faith that God is there, but first we are assuming, then we are believing the words of the Guru and the scripture, that God is there, God can be seen, God can be served and talked to, and then we are learning that we can develop a relation with God. I can be friend of God, or I can make God think God as my child, or as my beloved, like this, or as my master. So that way, slowly, we go very close to God and we develop love for God, and that love ultimately goes to that extent where I can't see anything else but God. That is called in Sanskrit prema. The prema sometimes they translate as love, but the prema is a completely different. Of course it is love. They mention the word love means attraction to each other. Here the prema means it is the attraction only towards God, and without any expectation. I love you, that's all. I love for love's sake. I never expect anything from you, O God. And I cannot bear any separation from you. So this world that I see, and if you say, go to the garden, enjoy the flowers, no, I cannot. If you say, here is the food that you enjoy, here is the clothing, here is all the comforts that I give, enjoy, and sometimes you remember me, no, I cannot. Because except God, I don't want anything else. That is the supreme condition. And that condition, only the prema, then he sees the same experience as a Vedantin having the experience. The Vedantin ultimately sees that it is only one. Then his mind, when comes down to the practical level, he sees, yes, there are all these different things are there, but he cannot differentiate. he thinks each and everything is nothing but the consciousness. He goes to pluck the flower, cannot. It is conscious. He cannot take even a blade of grass, it is conscious. That is the condition. And it is not for ordinary people. We should not make any mistake. This for that particular the mental condition. From that point of view, that experience, that realization, when we are not feeling that, we should not just, as a drama, we should not do that. So we don't understand, so it's okay, we will do it. And slowly, slowly we should. That is the ultimate thing, and we have to take step after step to reach over there. So that's why the Sirama Krishna, he is mentioning there is no two, there is one. And if you go through in the Advaitin point of view, you reach to that inseparable condition, and you see that even the human being and all other beings, nothing but the consciousness. And if you go through the path of devotion and reach to that acme, that highest point, the ultimate condition, you see that there is only your God and nothing else. Not even you. You forget your body. So Sirama Krishna is mentioning, Gopis saw Krishna in everything. Look at it. The Gopis of the Vrindavana, they are following the path of devotion. But even then, when that ultimate experience comes, Gopis saw the Krishna in everything. To them, the whole world was filled with Krishna. They said that they themselves were Krishna. This is the line. They said that they themselves were Krishna. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, as in the Vedanta they teach. I am that supreme Brahman and nothing else. And oh my child, you are that too. So at this moment, you are not understanding this, that try and practice, then you will reach to that height. Then the Gopis, the ladies of the Vrindavana, the Gopa and Gopis. Gopa means the cowherd boys and the girls are Gopis. So when they were loving Krishna, and then slowly, slowly love became so intense, they could not see anything else but Krishna. Now, not the houses, not the trees, not the flowers, not the cows, not anything but Krishna. Not only that, even their own bodies, when they were looking at themselves, they said, oh, we are all also Krishna. This is the same experience. That's why Bhagavan Sirama Krishna said, all paths are leading to the same goal. There is no separation. When you ultimately reach to the top, there is no separation. So we fight only when we are having the ego. And because of that ego, I say, hey, I am following the path of knowledge. You people are dualists, don't come to me. There the differences come. We fight when we are following any path with ego, and naturally we denounce the others. But in reality, there is no separation at the end. The paths are different. So sometimes I give the example. There's suppose some, after reading this Swami Bhagavan Sirama Krishna and his experience, then I say, suppose someone is studying the mathematics in India, someone in Japan, someone in Great Britain, someone in America, someone in Russia. Their schools will be different. Environment will be different. Teachers will be different. Language will be different. But the subject is the same. And when they graduate into that subject, their knowledge will be the same. At that time, a person who has graduated in India in mathematics can come to America to teach mathematics here too. Of course, he has to learn the language for the communication, but the knowledge is there. The same way, whether we are following this path or that path, A, B, C, D, it doesn't matter anything. So that's called the home of harmony. That is the house, that is the topmost, where we go and mingle together. And that is Bhagavan Sirama Krishna. Friends, Sirama Krishna is the answer for this modern age, because intellect has developed. Even in different parts of the world, ordinary people, just because of the developed our science, they know each other, they can understand each other. And the feeling for each other is also growing. So if we go to that level, if we can, no, we need not to accept others' religions, no. We follow our own religion. If you are a Christian, as Swami Vivekananda said, be a good Christian, a sincere person. Follow the path of Christianity by that way. And if you are a Muslim, be a good Muslim, a sincere one. If you are a Hindu, be a sincere one. A Buddhist, a sincere one. And then ultimately you will find that you have reached to that ultimate goal. So that is called, I have given the name that we are developing a place that will be home of harmony. It's a home, not that you have to change your attitude, but you feel at home because it is the harmony. It is not mixing up. Retaining your own individuality, speciality, you will be a part of the whole. So that is, we are slowly developing. The Sirama Krishna is mentioning in this way, and he is mentioning when one is intoxicated with prema, one sees God in all beings. They were then in a God-intoxicated state about the Gopis. Looking at the tree, they said, these are the hermits absorbed in meditation on Krishna. Looking at the grass, they said, the hairs of the earth is standing on end at the touch of Krishna. Devotion to the husband is also a dharma. The husband is God. Why shouldn't it be so? If God can be worshipped through an image, why not also through a living man? But three things are necessary in order to feel that the presence of God in an image. The Sirama Krishna mentioning in a different way, well, that the devoted lady, and she is there in the household and developing a samsara, a family, that is also possible based on her husband, looking after her husband as the living God. It is there. Then he comes to the another, he says, but to realize the God in an image, three things are necessary. So what are the image in the image? Whether it is a living or it is the stone image, whatever, three things are necessary. What is that? First, the devotion of the priest, the person who is worshipping. If that person is not having complete devotion and the love for that, then you don't get the benefit. That's why the priest should be completely dedicated, devotion of the priest. Second, a beautiful image. So most of the time we don't take care of that. Sometimes very peculiar type of images will be there. And nowadays in the modern world, so they always, mostly the images the Hindus they made, and there they will make the, oh, this is very special, made with all the broken glasses. There may be a piece of art, but when we are worshipping the image, it must be properly done. And it should be so beautiful that once you look at the image, you won't feel like turning your eyes somewhere else. It should be so attractive. The eyes of the god or goddess, or that should be beautiful. So God himself is telling, and he is giving the hint, so that our attention should be to that. Somehow they will make a god and big eyes, and they'll be painting with some red mark, and oh, this is a god. You don't feel like looking at it. But out of fear, oh, God may be angry, so let me. Not like that. I am taking an image as an object to concentrate so that I can reach to that highest level of God, which is love and which is consciousness. To go over there, the first and foremost, the priest, the person who is doing the worship on my behalf, should have a great love for that. Just the official will be sitting over there doing some performances, doesn't know the meaning of the mantras. Many of the temples, if you go, just like parrot, just like the machines they are doing. But it's love. The love for God. When the priest is going over there and chanting the mantra, he knows the meaning of the each and every word that he is chanting. So naturally, with those meanings, he will have the feeling that will inspire the other people who are there watching that puja. So this is, it says like this, that it must be three things, that otherwise it is not possible. Second, a beautiful image. And the third, devotion of the householder. The person who is organizing the puja, he should have the devotion. The priest should have the devotion. The devotion of the householder should also be there. The first person who is performing the puja on behalf of someone, and that person who is arranging the puja should have the devotion too, great love for God too. Oh, I have purchased all these things, let the pujari do it, and he will go and sit outside and then socializing, meeting with friends, and never coming back to the temple. That cannot be successful. The friends, these are the points we should always remember. By worshipping God through an image, one can reach to the highest goal, and that is the prema in the path of devotion. It is possible, but Sirama Krishna said the three things are necessary: devotion of the person who is performing, devotion of the person who is arranging, and devotion means true devotion. And then in between, a beautiful image. These three things, not very hard. Beautiful image we always can have. And the priest, we can choose someone who is really having the devotion. And if we don't give sufficient money to that priest, obviously that is his earning. So I will give you, if you do the puja, I will give you only 100 rupee or say $50. So obviously he will think, if I go to 3 houses, then I can earn $150. Then he will naturally, he'll shorten his time. He won't give much attention to the puja. But if you say, don't worry about other things, I will give you so that you can maintain your family for the whole month. Sufficient money will be given to you and full respect. And that person then will say, oh no, I don't have any hurry. So he will be there, and he should know, of course, and then the puja will be good. And the one who is organizing the puja, the most of the time the ladies will be there, they are looking after, and the gentleman with a great dress will be there. And it is not the socializing thing. He should be there in the corner, praying to the God. So please accept my puja. I am so blessed that you have come to my house. And thirdly, as Sirama Krishna is telling, the image should be so beautiful that when you look at that image, you will feel so attracted to that. Friends, this way, now, Vaishnava charan, he is mentioning about a great scholar of that time, the Vaishnava charan, once said that in the end, the mind of the devotee is absorbed in the human manifestation of God, that is avatara. Human manifestation of God, that is the avatara, like Bhagavan, Chaitanya and the others. Avatara, because of their, what is God? Love. What is God? Unselfishness. How it manifests through simplicity. So that when we go to that particular person, and if we have genuine love for God, we can feel the attraction. Now, at the first page, when the Master Moshe beginning this gospel, and he is giving the account how he first met Bhagavan Sirama Krishna, he went with his friend. Have you ever heard or read about that friend who took him over there? No. We don't know, maybe he has also visited sometime, but that was not very important. He was not at all interested in spiritual life. He went there just to pass some time. There's a beautiful place, the beautiful garden, and the river is flowing, so spend some time. Like a park we go, like that. But look at the Master Moshe. Is a humble person, though highly educated, and he went over there, very intelligent, educated, and also he was well established. He was the headmaster of a school, and he was having the social status too. But when you went over there and first time saw Bhagavan Sirama Krishna, nobody introduced. Only he heard there is a holy man, and he felt, oh my God, this is the Shukadeva narrating the Bhagavata to the holy souls of the rishis. First time. With that we can understand there must be the good past karma. Otherwise, many people come to the ashramas, many people they look at the Swamis but never talk. This is just a place to visit. So they come, they go, they check, that, they go away. And some people will be there eager to talk. And when they are talking, they will be asking some very pertinent questions. The Swamiji, how to control the mind, how to develop the devotion. I am practicing this way. Is it possible to develop in other way too? So what is the simplest way? So you can understand that he was having some background and how it comes because of the past karma. So those who have loved God, they must have come back. They could not complete the journey, so they have come back, come down like us, all of us. Those who are, and all we are listening to the gospel for so many years, we are reading the same book, but we always feel attracted to these words and try to rectify, try to develop, try to imagine that I am moving towards God. So this is the way Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is telling. He is quoting the words of the Vaishnava charan. Why Vaishnava charan? Because he was not only a dry scholar, he was also a sadhaka. He was highly respected at that time in that society. This Vaishnava charan, he is telling, once he said that in the end the mind of the devotee is absorbed in the human manifestation of God. The human manifestation of God means avatara. Friends, some of our very senior monk told, look at these young boys, look at these young people. We saw Sirama Krishna. We came to him, talked to him, lived with him, and now this Sirama Krishna, though these young people have not ever saw him, met him, only heard from us about him and getting the attraction to come to him. How blessed they are. So that is what happens. Do we sometimes think, oh no, that we could not come to Sri Ramakrishna's time? Had we been at that time? No, no, no. We are much more that way. We must have done something good. I always feel like that. And Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, why I am talking about Sri Ramakrishna? Because he is the perfect person. From any view, any way, if you come to him as a householder, as any profession that you are having, whether rich, poor, no difference at all. No difference of the caste, no difference of the language, no difference of anything. All are coming towards him. Those who love duality, for them he is there. Those who love non-duality, for them also he is there. Those who are very eager to help others, the karma yogi or the dhyana yogi wants to meditate, all can get the guidance from Sirama Krishna. And when you look at his life, all the scriptures that they are talking about, we can see that in Bhagavan Sirama Krishna. So now he is telling about this. But you must remember one thing. One cannot see God sporting as man unless one has had the vision of him. This is important. I see a God in human being. Just we say, we can imagine, but unless we had the direct experience of God, we won't be able to realize it properly. Do you know the sign of one who has God vision? The people may demand, sometimes they boast, I have had this God's vision, etc. The Sirama Krishna is telling the how you will feel, how you will understand who has the God vision. Such a man acquires the nature of a child. Those who have realized the God at the God vision, they become like a child. That means no attachment at all. The child cannot differentiate. So he loves everyone, believes everyone. He is the embodiment of simplicity. He is all love and unselfishness. The God is nothing but love and unselfishness. So Sirama Krishna is giving us the hints. Why a child? Because God is like a child. So he who sees God becomes like a child. God vision is necessary. Now the question is, how can one get it? That's why the people, once they read the Gospel of Sirama Krishna, they always love it. So he always giving us that subject, those things which we really want to know. He is raising the question and giving the answer, and that too in such a simple way. How you will understand that this man has realized God? Just because he grew long beard? Or the long hair? Just because he is walking barefoot? What? Just because he is eating only one time a day? Not that. He is very simple. And how it is possible to become simple? There is no ego. How it is possible to be free from ego? Because there is no desire. Then what remains there? Pure love without any judgment, and that takes us to pure unselfishness. That is exactly what we see in the children. Now here he is telling a man should have such intense hearing. Now God vision is necessary. Now the question is, how can one get it? And answer, intense renunciation is the means. Intense renunciation is the means. Vairagya, vairagya, vairagya. Tyaga, tyaga, tyaga. So that is what Bhagavan Sirama Krishna is mentioning. Friends, I can tell you in the book that I am reading, this English page is 688, and in the Bengali that published from our Udbodhan from Calcutta, that is in one volume, and they have given in a date wise, that page is 725. So in the 700, this discussion is there. Now about the Vairagya, Shankaracharya, the great Advaitin, he also mentioned in his Vivek Chudamani that without the Vairagya, one cannot even think of realizing God. And what is the Vairagya? I am using the Sanskrit word, and the Vairagya means what? Definition is given by Shankara. I will quote from the Vivek Chudamani, verse number 21. It says, Tad Vairagya Jihasa Ya Darshana Sravanadivihi Dehadi Brahmaparyantehi Anitte Bhogavastuni. Tad Vairagyam Jihasa Ya Darshana Sravanadivihi Dehadi Brahmaparyantehi Anitte Bhogavastuni. Vairagya means detachment or revulsion from all things, not having any attraction for anything of this world. That is called Vairagya. That we see or hear from all transient objects of the enjoyment, beginning with this body and up to the Brahma. Deho Adi. Deho means this body. And in this body also we don't feel any attraction. And others also, we can understand the Dehadi, Brahma Parayanta. Now, well, not this body, but I like to go to heaven. Majority of the people that think about that way, I like to go to heaven. And here it says, Brahma Parayanta. Even in the beginning, that the creator, the Brahma, up to that level, no desire. Long back, when we got that permission from our President Maharaj, that he agreed to order us with a sannyasa. So I was in Advaita Ashrama. The next day I am supposed to go to Belur Math, and there was a different type of rituals we had to go through. So it is a long process. Then ultimately in one early morning we get. So Ranganathanandaji Maharaj came to visit, and we were very happy. Then we told Ranganathanandaji, Maharaj, will you please tell us that we are going to take the sannyasa, we are going to get that sannyasa, not take, to get, because he gives and we are blessed. So can you please tell us what is this sannyasa means, and who is really capable to get the sannyasa? I still remember he said, those who were the king of all gods, that is Indra, and has completed finished all type of desires, satisfied, and no desire left in his mind now, is fit to accept the sannyasa. That is the level. Sannyasa means samyak nyasa. Samyak means complete. And what nyasa? What is giving up? Completely giving up. What? Ego. That is not the clothing, not the house, not these or that. It is ego. So friends, tad vairagyam jihasa ya darshana sravanadivihi dehadi brahma pariyante anitte bhogavastuni. This bhogavastu, the object of enjoyment, has to be given up. Now up to this today, and the other next Wednesday we will. Before we conclude, I think there is a question. Let me listen to the question.
So the first question is from Nobra. They are asking, Thakur used to see the flowers in plant itself already being worshipped. Still, Thakur would offer these flowers on the lotus feet of Ma Kali. Please explain.
So if you are taking in this way, it will be very difficult to explain. So two different visions you have to understand. Is a vision when the consciousness is everywhere. Try to understand this level. Just from this point of view, oh, he saw, then why he offered the flower? One time When he is feeling that, he could not offer, could not pluck. Then that mind, when it is again in the normal plane, then he is plucking the flower, offering to the God. So this we have to understand. This is very simple.
Srima Vishwas is asking, how do we motivate for God and do not believe in God?
I will ask you, Srima, that instead of motivating others, why not we get motivated first? Because the people will be of different type. We cannot change it. The Lord Buddha came to inspire the people to follow him. So many people against. So like that, my suggestions will be, so let us first feel for ourselves. This world will be like this. It is a world of Maya. So obviously it is better let me first develop and then realize, then think of all this. They will be blessed by God when the time will come. Thank you. Thank you, friends. Let us chant this mantra and complete. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Rama Krishnam shirasa namamaha. Hari Om. That's it.